All right. So I haven't seen anything you've been working on around this bulk reply thing. Do you want to kind of show me where you're at?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So the sort of golden path for this we think is in focus and reply. So you've got a bunch of emails in here that you need to reply to, and maybe you just want to send the same thing to everyone. So we've put this little prompt up here.
Yeah. I
And
like, by the way,
maybe
I like how that's a kind of like a yes or no kind of thing. It's like, need to say, yeah, I do.
yeah, yeah.
Now, before we go on, I'm just curious, will this exist elsewhere or is it only here or only here for now?
So well, no, it's a couple of places. So you could also do it if you want to do reply together, like to do an ad hoc group, you
I
can
see.
use it that way.
Okay.
And then it works in workflows too. So
Okay, cool.
you basically say reply to everybody in this stage.
So there's not a direct, so if you go to a multi-select in the inbox, you can't multi-select and then select reply to everyone with the same thing. You first go to like reply together, or you go, okay, got it. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I don't know if it happens enough, but I think there's a good case here for, probably this is sort of like a negative feature. You might want to just tell all these people, no thanks, or
Yeah.
um, you know,
It's a good
whatever.
place for it. I like actually, I like how we're already kind of running into the like, hey does so many things, and that direct menu has so many options that we're already kind of running out of room. So I like that this is sort of a second order feature of another feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Cool. So when you hit this, basically we just open a composer at the top, and then we give you a list of all the threads that are going to be replied to. So you
Nice.
can
Can you,
just
just out of
like,
curiosity, can you open any of those threads or not?
yeah, so you can click the title to look at the thread. You can look at the contact if you want.
Right.
And you can also just, if you want to further prune this list. So you could peek at a thread and go, oh wait, no, not that one.
Yeah.
Um, and sort of manage it at, kind of micromanage it in the moment.
That's nice. That's really nice, actually. Uh-huh.
And so then you just send it
Can
and
I
away you go.
make a little copy suggestion for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah.
Um, well, can you, this is a good stake, because you don't have the X because you only have one thread. Can you just select a few other threads really quick just to kind of
Yeah,
go back?
sure.
Um, I like the X, by the way, but I kind of wonder if it might be worth saying not this one. Like have
Yeah.
a button that's like not this one. I don't know if that's better, and it might be too long and whatever. But there's something so direct about like not this one, not this one, not this
Yep.
one versus X. I'm not necessarily sure what that's going to do. It could, part of me thinks it could close that line. It could also, it could say no, but there's something about no, not this one, or just not this one, which is so direct. It kind of feel like everyone would get that. It also calls back to your reply will go out to these threads, not this one. So it might be worth
Yeah.
trying that to see how that feels.
Do you think?
Although
Oh, good.
what I would have is I'd probably have an X in that box, because it could look too much like a label that's saying not this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it could be
Yeah.
like not this one's already turned on. So it might end up not working, but it might be worth a quick, 5-minute exploration to see if that, how it feels.
Do you think another way to approach it would be, what if we hit the X and then this like visibly changes state, where now it's like red or grayed out, or and then it says not this one or something like that.
Yeah, it could be a situation where you hit the X. This might be making it too sophisticated, but you hit the X and then we give you like two options, like not this one or never mind or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's probably too much. There's something though to be said about like the X it's so immediate and you can't undo it, that if you have like imagine you have a reply composed above and you're looking through these and there's 22 of them and you hit X on one of them and you're like, oh, like
Yeah.
then you're like, if I go back, I lose my reply. I can't add one back. It's so destructive in that way,
Hmm.
especially when a reply is involved and like time is involved in writing this thing up. It might just be nice to confirm. So
Yeah.
maybe if you click X, we can morph that into like are you sure not this one, or something like that? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know the exact solution. You'll figure it out, but I
Okay.
think it's important.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
So
and
let me show you
then
the workflows version of this. It's a
okay.
little bit, it's not a lot different. So you pull up a workflow and you've got, this works pretty well for like the hiring example. So maybe you want to move a bunch of people to the interview stage and give them the good news, or maybe you want to, tell people, nope, you didn't make it. So you can just go in here. We've got a menu here now instead of just a single icon.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, we talked about like a clear all button. We could put that in here.
Yep.
But you do reply to everyone, and it's basically the same thing. So you get the composer, the threads will be replied to, but we also have a little more information here that this applies to a workflow, and then we have this little nicety here that you could actually, after you send the reply, move them to another stage.
Mm. So I like this. I wonder the sort of scope hammering mind is like, do we need this? This feels like an extra level up.
Yep.
And I just wonder if it's necessary. Like it's tighter. The other feature is tighter because in both places it works the exact same way. Now there's like an exception that this works in an additional way here. I just wonder if it's opening us up to just like a bit too much surface area for this particular feature, but maybe not. Maybe it's not a big deal. What do you have any thoughts on that?
I think, one of the things we heard from Bethany, she was managing the internship program, and she had a situation. I don't actually know if she was using workflows or one of their own tools, but since we've kind of keyed in on this hiring use case, she mentioned that she had to send 2,000 rejection emails.
Right.
So that's where we thought, oh, maybe this makes sense in workflows. And then, if you're going to automate that where you can send the same reply to 2,000 people, should you be able to do something else in the workflow with it where it's another step of automation?
Yeah.
We could certainly ship without it.
I mean, I like the spirit of the idea because it's a distinct time saver clearly in that situation. It feels like too much feature in a sense. And it's not contrived because the example you just gave is a legitimate example, but we haven't run into it ourselves using Hey. So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering about it. It's clever and it's clearly useful in that situation. But it just feels like a lot.
Let me show you something that might reinforce your position.
Let me ask you one other thing. In that pull down, is there an option? Can you pull that up? Pull down. Is there an option to do nothing? Okay, keep them in.
So you just the default option is keep them where they are.
Yep. But see,
so,
you know what you'd really want here, Jay-Z? Like
that?
just to play it out. Let's play that hiring example out.
What
you'd really want is like send the rejection letter or something like that, and then clear them out.
I pitched that. I had that in the original mock-up. It didn't get wired up yet. I need to talk to Matt about that and see if that's a straightforward thing to do. I think it should be.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my thought too. If it's like a rejection letter, this is the opportunity to just clear them out of the workflow.
Or like, it doesn't even have to be that. It could just be like, let's just so we don't anchor ourselves to a rejection letter. Like you could imagine, like I'm using this feature to pay bills, right? I've got actually just two columns, like to pay and paid. And I could go pay 7 bills and then send everyone in that thing, like just paid. You'll have within a few days or something. And then boom, and then also clear that out, right?
Yep.
So, because I know we don't have the clear feature yet, but it feels like that would be, that's useful. So I think there's something here. There's definitely like something here for sure. The question is it too much? And is the clear part of it actually the more useful part in many cases? So I don't know. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I don't know the answer, but I want to just throw do we need to go this far on this right now?
Yeah. I mean, well, so what I wanted to say is we have a related challenge. So let's say I reply to everyone and then I say I'm going to move them to the offer stage.
Okay.
Um, Nothing happens right away. Because we have to queue these up, we have to figure out some way to update this page after the replies are sent from the queue and they're moved over.
Right.
So we have to actually refresh the page, or we have to do something. There are a number of things we could do. It's totally doable. We haven't done it yet, but it sort of reinforces where you're coming at this, that there's complexity here beyond just like, is this useful? Are we going to actually run into this situation?
Right. I think this is sort of a good example of there's clear utility here, but now we've run into this bit of complexity that's going to require more like layering on to the way this works that we don't have in the other versions of this feature, like from reply later and reply together. And it's like, I could imagine this part of the project becoming 80% of the work now, just to cover it in this one feature. And that's like, is it worth it? I don't know. Because there's unknowns here, right? We don't really know what we would do. You could put spinners in there, you could put ghost emails, like I don't, and then it's like, all that for what? Is that worth it? So
yeah, I mean, we have, I mean, the thing is, it shouldn't happen on the order of seconds. So it could be as simple as just manually pushing a refresh to the page and having it update a few seconds later. But there is something to, and we've also talked about, there's a flash message that shows when you send this. It could imply and make sure that we're sending these. There's time involved.
another thing we could do is we could have, like when you merge threads, we have that interstitial
Yeah.
screen that plays a little animation. We
Yeah.
could simply have something like that says like sending 42 replies or whatever, just a moment, and just have a little shuffling going on, and then like 2 seconds later, just like in merge and it's done. Then we show this, but we never have that state in the middle where it doesn't really work. Yeah, you want to go to merge?
Well, I was going to say one thing we'll have here is, even if you do it from reply later, there's still a processing involved. And so you will see these things hit, start loading into previously seen. This is a page that live updates.
Right.
So you would kind of watch them come in as they go, but it would just tell you, they're sending.
The thing is like, it's sort of, in this case, it's kind of like you send and go. In the other case, you're like landing on this screen that's incorrect in the short term. And that's why I think there's that difference of expectation around the experience. So yeah, I don't know. Again, maybe it's worth it. I'm just throwing it out that like, it seems like there's more to it, and you wonder like, is it worth it? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, let's see what happens when we merge. I haven't looked at this in a while.
Merge a few more.
So it takes longer.
Just so it takes a little bit longer. Although you're running this locally, it probably wouldn't
local.
matter.
Yeah, it might not.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't matter, but
yeah, it's so fast it doesn't.
yeah. Anyway, there's usually a there's interstitial that plays a little animation. It just says like, it'll just a moment or something like that. And it's plenty good. It's fine. It's like something's happening, it's working, it's doing its thing. And I think if you're sending 40 some odd emails, you might expect that and it'd be all right. Anyway.
Yeah, it's tricky because in the reply later case, we wouldn't want to show that because you're probably not waiting to see the results.
I agree. Yeah, it's only on workflows, which is.
But then you're in the state where you're just like sitting there looking at something happening while you also may not care.
You can leave too. Like you can go back. So it's more information. It's more informational. It's not required to sit and watch, but it prevents us from presenting an inaccurate picture of like where things are. Because
the other assumption we could consider is, should we redirect back to the workflow after you do that, or should we assume you're done and just like reply later, send you to the inbox?
Yep. What do we do in all other actions and workflows? We keep you there though, right? You move an email, you always stay there, don't you?
Well, it's I mean, this stuff is all just kind of happening. I can't think of there's another action like where you're sending or submitting anything. It just happens right here on the screen.
Yeah.
There's
True.
no redirect. There's no redirects one way or the other.
Yeah. I don't know. You
You
guys can
kind of
figure it
think
out.
that like I replied to all these people and now I want to do whatever the next thing is, but I don't know, that may be contrived too. It could be that if we ship you back to the inbox after this, by the time you were to navigate back here, if you really did need to do something else, things are probably done anyway.
Right. Okay. You guys can figure it out.
Yeah.
That's my reaction on it, but like, you've thought about it longer, and whatever you think makes sense here is fine.
Another factor
It's
is
just my scope hammering
yeah.
hat is on, and I'm like,
Totally.
how do we make sure this doesn't careen out of control, even though it doesn't seem like it's going to, but still.
Well, and scope hammer wise, we're in good shape on the project. We're
Okay.
two
Time
weeks
wise.
and 2 days in, and still have about another week left to finish this
Yeah.
up. We're on the verge of QA.
Okay.
The other thing that makes this a little bit complicated is we're thinking about how this would work with undo. So we had undo send that shipped a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Could you undo this?
No. Like undo is, I mean, technically we could make it work, but like it seems like undo is really about individual emails. I don't think. I mean, one thing we could do to prevent the need to undo, if you're sending more than one email, which is what this feature is, we could just make you confirm that. Like, it is a big step. Like, are you sure? You hit send. It's like, are you sure you want to send this reply to 42 people? Yes. And you're not doing this all the time. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to confirm that, given the sort of significance of it. It doesn't need to be an incredibly fast process. It can be a stepped, slow, a little bit of friction wouldn't be a bad idea here, actually. I don't think you'd be frustrated by it because you're not doing this constantly. Right. And then like undo, at that point, undo becomes an infinitesimally small likelihood or, desired outcome, I would say, because you've confirmed it. So
yeah, it's cool.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd rather like spend the time getting that right, I think, than some of the other things. But
yeah.
Okay.
My instinct is to, how can we say it here without having to click something else? But it might be okay to just slow down here.
Well, you could hit the button and the button could morph into, click here again. I don't know what the language would be, but like click here again to confirm you want to send the button. That'd be too long, but some sort of thing where it does happen here. The other thing you could do is you could sort of, it could be kind of interesting. We don't really have a good precedent for this in the app, but so what? It could go hey world like, where like after you hit send, a background halo appears behind the message at the top, which is like this sort of confirmation step, where then that bottom row, you lose the formatting options and the buttons change. There's like a new statement that says like, please confirm you want to send this to 42 people. And then there's a button below that says, yes, send to 42 people or something like, or never mind, or I need to fix something or whatever. That could be a way to do it. I don't know.
No, I like that. That's one thing that does is that opens this up for a nice UI if we ever need to confirm something else later before sending. Like some email clients will warn you if you mention an attachment but don't actually attach anything. Like we'd have a mechanism there to just ask for more information before we send something.
Yeah, that'd be a nice pattern.
You haven't read the subject line. I don't know what the other situations would be, but I like that just as a general pattern.
Yeah, so kind of like highlight the background, change the bottom row into something that's clearly like a dialogue style thing that's either we do a yellow fade or background color or something where it's very clear you need to do something next. Yep. I think what we want to make sure we avoid is like a state change and then people don't realize they have to do something and they just click back and then they that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, that could be worth playing with. That's a fun thing to explore. So all right. Yeah. Cool. That's good. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'll go talk to Matt and see what we can come up with.
Cool. All right. Let me know. Thanks for the walkthrough.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye.